well. But let's not tease all of that straight away. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor.
I'm Toya Singh, joining you from New Delhi. Let's take our audiences through everything we have on the show. Okay, first up, we are looking at everything it takes to have a healthy heart. World Heart Day is coming up in a few days. It falls on Sunday. So today on TBC, we thought we should ask the nation's top doctors about the secret to a healthier heart, why it's more than just diet and exercise, why some statistics say that Indians have alarming cardiovascular health, what we can do to improve it. We'll bring you the TBC breakdown.
Lapata Ladies leading lady Pratibha Ranta chats with us from Shimla to stardom. The face of India's Oscar hopeful on acting, ambition and more. We chat with her on the program today.
And then the biggest headline out of the weekend, and we are not done talking about it. The chess champions of the world shared their winning strategies, an exclusive with India's Olympiad winners. We have them on the show and we'll ask them, what do they think made the chess team unstoppable?
Also, the weekend is here, so what should your planner really look like? What to watch, what to listen, when to binge and when to run away? We've got the TGIF for you.
Okay, let's start up first with a story that is of essential importance. We're talking about the critical issue of heart health. As we told you a little while earlier, World Heart Day is this Sunday, September 29th. The heart, as we know, is often called the lifeline of the body. Yet heart disease remains one of the leading causes of death across the entire globe. Even with all of the advancements we see and regularly talk about on the Breakfast Club in medicine, fitness trends that we talk about, we still see a troubling rise in heart-related conditions. And what's more, physicians warn that in India, Indians actually suffer heart attacks 10 years earlier than Westerners do. This is a statistic that came out a few months ago. They say it's because of an earlier onset of cardiovascular disease or CAD. CAD-related deaths and disabilities have reportedly doubled in India over the past 30 years. So, the question is, what can we do differently to keep our hearts ticking? Where are we going wrong? And how can we take care of our hearts and the hearts of our family members?
So today on the show, we are going to take a deep dive into all the steps we all can take to keep our hearts in really good shape with some of the country's top heart experts. But before we go ahead and try and get all those answers, here's an interesting story that emerged. This is a story which is of absolute brilliance and heroism and also quick thinking that came from knowing how to administer CPR. Do you know how to administer CPR? We've all seen that in movies, in videos, etc. But when the time comes to actually make it happen, the simple act can save lives. And this is what this heart hero actually looks like. Let's pull that video up on the screen also for you. A few days ago, a ticket examiner gave a new lease of life to an elderly passenger who was having a heart attack in a moving train in Bihar. What you see on your screen in those slightly blurry pictures over there, because we don't want to give away the identity of the person, is the TT actually going ahead and administering CPR. And because of that, because of Sarvinder Kumar, the TT of that train's efforts, the man was actually saved. So we're very glad to have Sarvinder ji with us on the program this morning to tell us more. Sarvinder ji, नमस्कार, हमसे बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. पहले हमें बताएंगे कि उस दिन हुआ क्या, कैसे आपने डिसाइड करा कि अब CPR देना है और कैसे ये खबर आई आपके पास. And he's clearly man on the job because he's still on the train as you speak.
बिल्कुल, मेरी ड्यूटी गाड़ी संख्या 11062 पवन एक्सप्रेस में मुजफ्फरपुर से बनारस तक पहले इसकी सूचना 139 पे कंट्रोल को दी चुकी थी रेलवे को. तो फिर उधर से हमको कंट्रोल द्वारा मैसेज आया कि आपके को एक व्यक्ति का तबीयत खराब हो गया, आप जाकर उसको देखिए. तो जब हम गए तो उनके सहयात्री हमको बताया कि मेरे साथ मेरे भाई जो है ऐसे थे, सोए थे. हमको लगा ये सोए हैं लेकिन इनकी जो कुछ ये बोल ही नहीं रहे. फिर मैंने कंट्रोल को सूचना दिया कि इनका तबीयत ज़्यादा खराब है और इनको जो है डॉक्टर उपलब्ध करवाइए नेक्स्ट स्टेशन पे, ठीक। तो तब तक वो क्या हुआ कि अपने रिलेटिव इधर उधर फोन करने लगे, तो उनके फैमिली डॉक्टर थे, तो उनके भाई के मित्र डॉक्टर थे, उनसे बात हुई तो वो जो है वीडियो कॉल पे बताए वो तो कि इनको जो है हार्ट हार्ट अटैक आ गया है, इनको जो है सीपीआर वगैरह करने की जरूरत, कि हम लोग को मंडल स्तर पे सीपीआर की ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है। तो वो जो है डॉक्टर के दिशा ने उनके फैमिली डॉक्टर के दिशा निर्देश के अनुसार जो है हम लोग उस तरह का किए और उनको जो है सांस पुनः वापस आ गया।
We do want to just tell our audiences, Sarvinder ji is joining us, as you can see, from a train, which I think is why the connection is so spotty. But Sarvinder ji, हमें ये भी बताइए, जिस पैसेंजर की जान आपने बचाई, सर वो कैसे हैं अभी, आपको पता है?
तो उनका मैम हम नंबर नहीं ले पाए थे, समझ गए ना?
हाँ।
ऑल राइट, सो सरविंदर जी, आई होप आप हमें सुन पा रहे हैं। उस समय जहन में क्या चल रहा था आपके जब आप सीपीआर दे रहे थे? ऑब्वियसली ये मूविंग ट्रेन है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि स्थिति एकदम से ठीक हो सकती है या फिर आप डॉक्टर से तुरंत एक कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं। उस समय आप ही को करना था जो करना था, तो उस समय क्या चल रहा था जहन में?
वो देखिए, हम तो मेरा जो प्रोसीजर है अब कंट्रोल को सूचना देना, वो मैंने कंट्रोल को सूचना दे दिया कि इनको डॉक्टर उपलब्ध कराएगा, ठीक। तो उनके जो सह यात्री थे वो अपने फैमिली मेंबर में इधर उधर कॉल करने लगे। उनके भाई के मित्र जो डॉक्टर थे वो जो है कि वीडियो कॉल पे बता रहे थे इनको हार्ट अटैक आ गया, इनको सीपीआर कीजिए तो है ये पुनः ठीक हो जाएंगे। तो हम जो इस चीज़ को सुने और हम जो है हम लोग को चूंकि मंडल स्तर पे सीपीआर की ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, तो सीपीआर का प्रोसेस पता था कैसे करना, तो वो किए और उनका जो है सांस पुनः चलना शुरू हो गया।
समिंदर जी, आज हम इस चीज़ पे बात कर रहे हैं कि सीपीआर का क्या महत्व है, सबको सीखना चाहिए, क्यों सीखना चाहिए, इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। आप हमें बता सकते हैं आपकी ट्रेनिंग कैसे मिली? आपको सिर्फ टीटी को मिलता है, सारे ट्रेन स्टाफ को ये ट्रेनिंग मिलता है सर?
नहीं, हर स्टाफ मेंबर को दिया जाता है, जो पब्लिक से जुड़े हो उन सबको दिया जाता है।
ऑल राइट, थैंक यू सो मच हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए। दैट was the TT who actually saved somebody's life on a moving train,
Right.
and kudos to him to having done that and being so quick on his feet even when the doctors could not be contacted, and he had to do his bit and a life got saved. That's how critical it is. But let's take this discussion on heart forward. Joining us next is Dr. Vinod Sharma. He's the president of the National Heart Institute, and he joins us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Sharma, so lovely to have you on the program.
Good morning.
You know, as the World Heart Day, good morning. As the World Heart Day actually approaches, there are so many questions one has in mind. Can I just start with the one that bothers so many people today in India, which is the average age at which heart issues begin to appear? You know, there's a running joke in people in their 30s and 40s these days that if you've survived between 30 to 50 without a heart ailment, then perhaps you will go on to have a really long life. But that critical window is extremely important. Could you shed more light on that?
If we look at the profile of the Indian patient, no doubt compared to the Western population, Indian people are getting heart disease at early age. Obviously, it is because of the rising number of risk factors. If we look at the various risk factors, diabetes, obesity, stress, smoking, hypertension, they all are rising. And obviously, it is due to rising social pressure, work pressure, peer pressure. They are all building up. And as a result, the prevalence of heart disease in Indian continent is rising very steeply.
Doctor, can we ask you, compared to, because part of the statistic we shared with our audiences right in the beginning of the show was also that compared to Westerners, it's coming 10 years earlier here. But Westerners are also seeing stress, they're also seeing rising, for example, smoking levels. What is India doing? Is it a genetic issue also that we have with us? What's happening there?
There are two issues. One is of course genetic issue, and second is on one side we have rising risk factor, but adoption of so-called healthy heart behavior, that is not there. The two are not matching. People are not engaging in the regular exercise. People are very careless about the dietary behavior. The smoking prevalence is rising. So, on one hand, the prevalence of heart disease is rising. On the other hand, the so-called adoption of healthy heart behavior is diminishing.
Okay. Okay. So, Dr. Sharma, then the question really is this. If you are, and in India, it's so relevant here, if you have genetically in your family a lot of heart diseases going in, are there certain kind of tests one must undergo to remain proactive, to ensure that the heart is in a healthy state? Are there some symptoms perhaps that can tell you that you need to do something about it?
There are two aspects. Of course, those people who are having multiple risk factors, say like family history, parents have heart disease at the age of 50, 55, or siblings have heart disease, person is diabetic, overweight, or is smoking, then these are the people who should keep undergoing medical examination so as to detect the heart disease at a preclinical stage before it gives symptom. Number two, as on today, if I say that looking to various modality of investigation of heart disease, whether it is a non-invasive or even the invasive, you cannot predict 100% that this patient is going to have heart disease, heart attack. If we look at nowadays, many people go and get CT coronary angiography. Now, CT coronary angiography demonstrates 40, 50, 30% block. Now, this 30, 40, 50% block of course has to be treated by their lifestyle modification and with some of the medication, but none of these medication guarantee you 100% prevention of heart attack. Suppose there is a block in artery 80-90%, and if we do the angioplasty, stent or bypass surgery, that does not take away the chance of sudden cardiac death. Yes, it does reduce ischemia, means it does improve blood supply to the heart muscle, and chances of chest pain etc. will be less, but still certain behavior, electrical behavior of the heart, so called electrical aberration, which lead to the cardiac arrhythmia and sudden cardiac death, that still can occur. So, focus should be there to grow towards controlling the risk factor. So, prevent the disease and whatever thereafter we can do for medical side for introducing the drug or doing any procedure.
Very important point,
Doctor, just highlight for our audiences, because I also want them to have a concrete takeaway. Tell us do's and don'ts for a healthy heart.
See, if we look at the what is do for the healthy heart, it is a very simple mnemonic one can remember: A, B, C, D, E. A for HbA1c. In India, every fourth person is diabetic or going to be diabetic because of their lifestyle. So, first is HbA1c. A stands for A1c. HbA1c, that is mean glucose, that has to be kept well under control below 6.5. B stands for blood pressure. Timely measurement of blood pressure, and blood pressure has to be kept below 130/80 and preferably around 120/80. C is for two C's. One is cholesterol. One should look at the cholesterol lipid profile, specifically towards the bad cholesterol, that is LDL, and very typical value is one should keep it below 100, and if someone is diabetic also keep it below 70. Another C is cigarette, is smoking, that should be forbidden totally. Next is D, diet. Low fat, balanced diet, low fat, moderate carbohydrate, high protein diet. And E of course is exercise. One should engage in a regular exercise for 45 to 50 minutes, moderate in intensity, at least 3 to 5 times in a week. If one follows this, he can prevent the heart occurrence of the coronary artery disease to a large extent.
Okay, I see. Important points there, and by the way, brilliant visuals on screen as well right now for people to actually understand what happens when your arteries get blocked, and there is nothing that can remove the blockage. All you can do is thin your heart, or you can do other mechanisms to make it healthy. That's what the doctor is saying. You know, don't let that situation occur in the first place. But Dr. Sharma, very curious about understanding the different kind of cardiovascular diseases that emerge in men versus women. The cases of heart attacks as well, much more in men. Why is that?
Well, if we look at the difference between men and women, of course, the prevalence of heart disease is more in the men. If we look at the total risk factor profile and comparing between men and women, risk factor profile is much more in the men. Men are more smoker, more men you will find sedentary, more men you will find obese, more men you will find high blood pressure. On the other side, women also have diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, but till the age of the menopause, they have a protective arsenal, that is the estrogen, that protects them from the heart disease. Premenopausal women will get heart disease only in 3 odd situations. If she happen to be diabetic, if she is consuming oral contraceptive, or if she is a smoker. Otherwise, it is very rare to get a premenopausal women to have a heart disease. Now, when the heart disease occurs in the women, the another problem is their symptoms are atypical and more often it is being ignored. If we look at the male population versus female population and the timing of picking up their heart disease, it is quite a wide difference. More often women neglect this symptom as a usual symptom. I have been working whole day, so I am feeling exhausted, but this undue exhaustion may be a symptom of heart disease. Similarly, vague chest pain, vague abdominal pain, back pain, which may be really a manifestation of coronary artery disease, which a particular women may be neglecting, thinking it is just because of the overworking or tiredness. And more often they try to wind up with this symptom without bringing it to the notice, because they are more committed toward their household chores.
Yeah. Doctor, tell us, right there to that question, we talked right now about premenopausal women, but I do want to ask, I had an aunt who recently felt like she was having heart attack symptoms taking place in her body. And it's at that moment that we realized, and when we Googled it, that what looks like the oncoming of a heart attack for a woman, especially of that age, can actually be quite different from the symptoms we say for a man. What are the differences? Can you just tell us, especially for the audiences watching?
See, some of the symptoms which are taken as routine and forgetting that it may be a cardiac symptom are, say, like stomach pain, the lower part of the chest and upper part of the belly discomfort, or feeling of a kind of so-called acidity. That acidity may be really a sign of a heart attack, or a pain in the back, center of the back, pain in the neck sometime, profuse sweating, sudden breathlessness, undue fatigue. These are very common symptoms which kind of mixes with the routine thing. So, these are so called atypical symptoms which are more often seen in the women, and that is how they miss the diagnosis of heart attack, because they do not get the medical attention, they do not bring it to the notice.
Yeah. Actually, this is to say that heart attacks don't really happen how we've seen in the movies, that somebody gets pain in the chest and they collapse. Oftentimes, it's because you're profusely sweating. A lot of people actually run to the loo because they feel like there's pressure building up in the body, and the body is basically trying to, sort of fight it out. So there are different ways, but the minute you feel something out of the ordinary, I think the basic thing in a heart attack is to rush early, because if you're late, that's when recovery is much harder. So watch out for these symptoms and get in touch with the doctor as soon as possible. But before we let you go, Dr. Sharma, a lot of these days, a lot of gadgets are doing the rounds. There are ones that get attached to your body that is constantly tracking your, your blood pressure, your glucose index, etc. There are watches that give you a hint of what your BP and the rest of it looks like. What is your take on all these gadgets? Do they help? And if yes, how?
If we look at the gadgets and their utility in our day-to-day use, and in terms of picking up the heart disease or cardiovascular disease, I would say broadly, it is their usefulness is yes also and no also. Yes, in the sense, yes, one can monitor the heart rate, one can track the heart rate, especially if the heart rate is fast and irregular, and person is feeling a symptom in form of palpitation or so-called ghabrahat. But all the time the heart rate which is shown, it cannot be a marker of a disease. Number two, these technologies like a smartwatch, they are basically, their basic mechanism is a photoplethysmography. So, there are a lot of chances of false positive with them. As far as a smartwatch is concerned, yes, the situation where it is useful is person who is getting intermittent time to time irregular heartbeat, which is fast, that is called as atrial fibrillation, which can precipitate a stroke anytime. Many a time we are not able to diagnose, because when he comes to the hospital his heart rate is normal. So, in that patient probably the smartwatch may help. Similarly, the blood pressure monitoring instrument, yes, it is good to monitor the blood pressure at home, provided the cuff is applied properly and it is monitored in a proper time. It is good, because if we compare the blood pressure monitored at home vis-a-vis hospital, in hospital there is something called white coat hypertension. Whenever they reach hospital, anybody reach hospital, their blood pressure goes up by them. So, home blood pressure monitoring is always better predictor. Blood glucose, yes, it is a reasonably accurate. So, most of these apps which are there, instruments which are there, they are really good, but at the same time they cannot be taken as a gold standard to pick up heart disease. And if we talk in terms of the heart disease, it is more of a heart attack. So, the smartwatch depicts only one ECG lead, and to diagnose heart attack you need comprehensive 12 leads. So, yes, if you are finding sudden change in your heart rate coupled with the symptom like chest pain, breathlessness, better to go to the nearest medical facility.
Dr. Vinod Sharma, thank you for joining us. Thank you for laying out all of the basics for us, even telling us a smartwatch good but not enough to track your heart health. Go in for regular checkups. Doctor, thank you for joining us this morning. We're not done in our deep dive of the heart. Next we have an interview with Dr. Rahul R. Gupta. Why we're highlighting him? He's from the Apollo Hospital and he speaks about a recent case where he performed a TMVR on a 69-year-old patient. A TMVR is a minimally invasive structural heart disease treatment. It is usually done to replace a damaged valve within open heart surgery. Take a look.
I guess so. Sir, could you tell us about what this new modality is? How is it different from the open heart surgery, and how does it help patients who are of a higher age limit?
So this 69-year-old female, she already had 2 open heart surgeries for repair of one of his valves. So we have 4 valves in the heart, and one of her valve, which is mitral valve, was damaged. So it was repaired, then again with the open heart surgery it was replaced with a new valve 10 years back. That was a surgical replacement. Now she again came with problems of breathlessness, and when we did the echocardiography, which is the sonography of the heart, we found that the valve has again become defective. So she needed another valve replacement. Now the question was that whether the third surgery is safe, open heart surgery is safe, or should we offer her this innovative therapy which is called as TMVR. And we discussed in the heart team with all the surgeons around, and they took multiple opinions, and they found that open heart surgery third time would be really risky. So we were in a situation that what should we do for this patient when they approached us. So then I suggested them TMVR. Now TMVR stands for transcatheter mitral valve replacement. So you can actually replace any of the heart valves without open heart surgery through these innovative technologies, where you just like people know about angiographies and angioplasty, we do it through either hand arteries or the leg arteries under local anesthesia without any chest cut on the chest and opening the heart. So we did the same procedures for her, and we went through the leg vein. We reached the heart, the designated the place where we wanted to reach the mitral valve, and then we put a new valve. This procedure got over in about 1 hour's time, and patient was actually ready to go home within 24 hours. So we usually discharge the patient within 24 to 48 hours, and she is doing extremely well. So I think these procedures are very important for people to know that such kind of innovations are already there, where patients who are at high risk for surgery are at advanced age, they feel that this is going to be very risky. So instead of suffering and with the fear that surgery, something might happen to them during open heart surgery, and living in misery, they can undergo and they can adopt these innovative therapies, and they can do really well.
So sir, like you were mentioning about TMVR, how is it different from angioplasty, angiography, or open heart surgery? For the betterment of our viewers, because they would not really understand what TMVR is, if you could differentiate all of that so that they understand better.
So the difference here is between the valve replacement through open heart surgery versus without open heart surgery. Angiography and angioplasty is for the blockages in the heart. When people develop heart attack or when they develop chest pain and all, when we find blockages, we remove the blockages through, find out the blockages through angiography and remove the blockages via the procedure called as angioplasty. The surgical counterpart of angioplasty is bypass surgery. Okay, so this is a separate vertical. Now, if we look into the valvular problem, there are 4 valves as I told you. Now, in a typical open heart surgery, the person has to undergo the cut, open the chest, stop the heart, replace the valve. Patient stay in the hospital is 5 to 7 days based on which route we have used, minimally invasive or the central open, and then there is a prolonged ICU stay as compared to a transcatheter procedure. While in TMVR or these transcatheter procedures, we can do all these under local anesthesia. ICU stays hardly for 24 hours, and then if needed, 1 day in the ward and they can get discharged. Most of these transcatheter procedure can be done under local anesthesia, or even if they need a general anesthesia, it's a very short GA. So no cut, no incision. Patient goes home just like if nothing has been done, and they are back to work immediately after discharge. So there is no waiting period for recovery and all. So that's the beauty of these innovative transcatheter procedures, and people should know about it. That's the only message which I want to give on this World Heart Day, that there are procedures for all those people who are at high risk for surgery and they are advanced age where they are fearing surgery. They need not live in the life of suffering. They can get their valve treated with these innovative procedures.
All right, you know what else is really great for your heart? Some stress-free time and just some downtime to watch your favorite movie. And Lapata Ladies just could be that. We'll be speaking to the lady of that movie who's all set to be India's entry to the Oscars. Pratibha Ranta, chat with her coming up on the other side.
At L'Oréal Group.
So, you know, with these revelations of the shocking use of inferior and substandard ingredients into making something that is so sacred and respected, and the alleged use of adulterated ghee in the preparation of that sacred laddu is not just a disrespect to Hindu sentiments, Madhviji. I think personally to me it's a disrespect to someone's faith, it's a breach of trust. But while the BJP is going all guns blazing and targeting the former chief minister, what about the role of the TTD? I mean, shouldn't they be held accountable as well? Why no questions are being asked from the board? Doesn't the buck stop at them? Aren't they responsible of ensuring that the most pure, authentic prasad is served to devotees?
Okay, I will ask you one simple thing. The chief minister is the head of the state. Unfortunately, we Hindus do not have a different autonomous board. We all fall under endowments. And under TTD, the chairman is a Christian. EO is a Christian. All prime members are Christian. To keep up the Hindu sentiment. And apart from that, if you know, please, you are supposed to now let everybody know about this. TTD, very prime people have done an investigation and figured out there were 44 non-Hindu believers who belong to another religion. What is the use if the power which has to take up this itself wants to curb it? That's the dirty politics, right?
Former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy is going to be visiting Tirupati, is going to be visiting the temple. The BJP and the TDP have now upped their ante against him. They say that before he enters the temple, before he takes those steps that go up to the hill temple, he should sign on the dotted line as far as the declaration of his faith is concerned. That is something that he hasn't done in the past because rules were bent for him when he was the Chief Minister, is the allegation that the ruling government there is making. Meanwhile, we're seeing several other leaders, including that of the BJP, making a beeline to this particular temple. Madhvi Lata was one such leader who's en route there. So there is high drama that is expected once Jagan Mohan Reddy reaches Tirupati tomorrow.
See, Jagannath Reddy had committed an unforgivable sin. So there will be no relief for him. Lord Balaji, Swami Venkateshwara will not forgive him. Even if Jagan Reddy climbs up the 7 hills on his knees, even then there will be no forgiveness from the Lord. All these years you have gone into the temple without signing the declaration. We all know that you are a believer in Christianity, which we don't have any problem with. We respect all religions. If they intend to have a darshan of Lord Balaji, then they have to sign a declaration stating that they have faith in him.
पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री जगन मोहन रेड्डी 28 तारीख को तिरुपति मंदिर में पहुंचने वाले हैं, जहां पे उन्होंने एक क्षमा अनुष्ठान का आयोजन कर रहे हैं। मैं बता दूं कि इन्होंने जो अपराध किया, लड्डुओं के अंदर सुअर के चर्बी, फिश ऑयल मिला के जो अपराध किया, हिंदू भावनाओं को जो ठेस पहुंचाई, वो जो दंड है वो क्षमा योग्य नहीं है। वो कितना भी अनुष्ठान कर लें, वो क्षमा योग्य नहीं है।
As far as this controversy is concerned, all these political parties, like, whether it is TDP or YSR Congress, their major source of income is corruption. They're not collecting meager amount from people and not getting, money that way. The main source of income is corruption. Whether it is in the name of God, whether it is in the name of road, whatever it is the corruption is the main source. So that makes no difference between YSR Congress party or TDP.
Jagan Mohan Reddy is planning to make this trip to the revered Tirumala temple, and as my colleague Swastika was mentioning, he is doing that to seek atonement. He is seeking forgiveness. Why is it that the BJP government and the TDP is asking for him to sign a formal declaration before he enters the temple premises?
Because in 1990, as per GO Order 311, it is very, very clear that anybody who belongs to other faith or dharma or religion is supposed to give an undertaking.
Okay.
That if in Lord Venkateshwara and they have faith, and only then they're supposed to enter, which has been very respectfully accepted by our late President Abdul Kalam. Okay. After that, who are the two great human beings who violated is Jagan's father, Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy, and the great Italian lady Sonia Gandhi. Okay, now I come to the next point.
Welcome back. This is the Breakfast Club, and now we're going to take you to stories taking place right here in India and across the world with our apps. Let's start first with a funner story. If you're looking for laughs, new gut-busting comedies are getting harder to find on today's television. We'll take you to a deeper dive as comedy obviously has taken a bigger hit than drama. This is according to new industry data we've got coming out of Hollywood. Producers saying that a range of challenges have hindered bringing new comedies to the screen. It's a very interesting phenomenon that now you have many producers within Hollywood flagging. Last year's TV offerings thinned. This is when Hollywood writers and actors went on strike. After production ramped back up, as it has over the last few months, the number of drama premieres in 2024 rose 25% from a year earlier, and comedy premieres have fallen by 7%. Experts within the industry are tracking these trends as we speak.
A Japanese man said to have spent the world's longest time on a death row was acquitted of murder, ending his family's search for justice after a wrongful conviction for crimes he committed nearly 60 years ago. Shizuoka District Court cleared Wa Hakamada, 88, in a retrial of the murders of the 4 people in the central Japanese region of 1966. It was sweet to hear the words "not guilty" in the courtroom, said the man who had battled for decades to clear her younger brother's name.
And next, we take you to a story that is playing out in South Korea. South Korea is saying they'll actually rehome almost 500,000 dogs. These were dogs that were being bred for food. They're going to give dog farmers subsidies and incentives to help them prepare for a ban that is going to take effect in early 2027. This is a report for more. Take a look.
South Korea has set itself the task of rehoming almost 500,000 dogs bred for food and announced it will give dog farmers subsidies and incentives to help them prepare for a ban on the practice, set to take effect in early 2027. The Agriculture Ministry said on Thursday authorities will try to get as many of the animals adopted or rehomed in shelters as possible. Support for the ban has grown under President Yoon Suk-yeol, an animal lover with 6 dogs and 8 cats. But South Korea has more than 1,500 dog breeding farms and more than 200 dog slaughterhouses, and some 2,300 restaurants still serve dog meat. South Korea's Vice Minister of Agriculture, Park Byom-soo, said the government would spend $75 million on incentives for breeders, farmers and eateries to encourage them to shut their businesses.
Although many are concerned the remaining dogs might be euthanized, I can certainly say that's not our plan.
Farmers can get up to $452 for each dog they surrender, but head of the Korean Association of Edible Dog, Ju Yong-bong, says businesses want a better deal.
We will close our business only when there's reasonable compensation first. However, the government support plan is not reasonable at all, so we decided not to shut down our businesses until the government provides compensation which is similar to 3 years' revenue.
Well, it's a particularly disturbing story, but glad that the ban is actually coming into place, sooner rather than later over there. But let's switch focus now and talk about something happy this morning, and which is India's dominance in the chess world, which is the testament of countries' growing prowess in the sport. As we celebrate India's historic double gold win at the Chess Olympiad 2024, joining us are 2 champions who made it possible. GM Srinath Narayan, captain and the coach of India's Open team, and I am Tanya Sachdev, a key member of the gold medal winning women's team as well.
So what do we discuss with them? Srinath Narayan first shares all of his expertise. What made the team unstoppable according to him? The impact of the legend Vishwanath Anand. Remember, Anand has himself talked about mentoring some of the chess players over the last few years. Also, we're going to hear from Tanya on the overwhelming support that is now pouring in for the women's team, the personal significance of their achievement and the inspiring young talents, how they made it happen, what their story is. Take a look.
Very, very special, and just a huge thank you, to be a part of this big moment with us, to celebrate this with us. I think it makes us realize what we've done. It goes even beyond us. It hopefully inspires so many people watching this. Thank you so much for cheering for us, rooting for us, everybody who came today, this warm reception. It really means the world, and all the hard work, the sweat, everything gone into it. It makes it all worth it. I think when we say it means a lot or it means everything, it's just that it keeps us inspired. It keeps us motivated to play our best, to play our hearts out for the country. In Budapest, the men team, they dominated it. They were just unstoppable, untouchable. They ran away with the gold. The women team, it got a bit tricky in the middle. We were leading till the 7th round. We had a little setback, but then we were able to come back. We showed that resilience, and I think that's what I mean. When you have the support, and people back home want this and they are rooting for you, it fuels you from within. So it really means everything for us. It's truly the golden generation of Indian chess in the men and the women as well. It was Harika and me who played so many chess Olympics, come so close so many times, have had near misses. And then we had these 3 young girls, Vaishali, who was actually part of the bronze medal winning team in Chennai. And then I think what we were missing in Chennai, we had it here, which was in the form of Divya and Vantika and their fire play. So many big clutch victories, their confidence, their positive energy, the intensity with which they play, their hunger, just all of that. I think it's not only inspiring for India but also for the players, to watch that. So yes, for a long time the talk has been that in chess India is the future. India is the present and the future. Well, my personal story, I'll start with that really quickly. I got motivated and inspired to take up chess as seriously as I did after I played a simul against Vishy. It was in Delhi and I was the only girl there. Or boy, it was, I think it was in the City Fort Auditorium. And I went to play that simul. It was a game and I lost, of course. But after that, just looking at him, I was like, I want to be like him. And I think that was the start of chess for me. So he's inspired, I think, every single person. If you had to point one reason to where chess is today in India, that reason is Vishwanathan Anand. His achievements, I think, is difficult to put into words, but 5 times world champion, an absolute legend of the game. He's inspired the whole generation. What his contribution goes beyond words. I think, yeah, it's hard to really say what he's done for Indian chess. Just his presence, just has been always there to guide. It was actually a beautiful afternoon we had, and we were sitting with him for more than an hour, and it's so clear his love for sports and how much, his love and passion for athletes as well. उनका जो sports के साथ लगाव है ना, वो सामने आता है उनका, and it feels so inspiring to be around him, to talk to him, to learn from his experiences. We spoke about many parallels जो हम chess में feel करते हैं और उनसे कैसे deal करना चाहिए. He had so many interesting takeaways and inspiring stories to share. So beautiful afternoon that I think all of us will remember for a long time. And it's really moments like these that I think motivates more athletes and all of us to even give our more for the country.
It felt great. It felt really nice. It felt really smooth. Because during the tournament itself, it was quite hectic. I would go to the tournament hall, I'd come back, we'd immediately start, have the team meeting, and I'll start preparing for the next games. But in general, it felt really pleasant that we, there were not a lot of games where we were in doubt that we would actually win. I think out of the 11 games, there were maybe 3 or 4 games where it was not entirely clear that we were going to win. And in all the other games, we dominated. So overall, it was a very pleasant experience. Absolutely. It's a very special bunch, and I think the good news is it's not just them, but we also have a number of other promising youngsters, juniors, who are coming up the ranks. So our bench strength is also pretty strong. So in that sense, I feel we mirror cricket a bit in terms of being one of the best teams out there right now, the best countries, and also having a strong enough B team, a C team, which can also challenge the best team. We look at first we decide our team lineup, and then we look at the possible opponents, and we make plans against how we are going to approach each of these opponents. And as captain, I have an overview of all the 4 boards and what a general strategy will be. So this also helps in making decisions on the individual boards on how to approach it, whether you want to approach a certain board in a defensive way and be solid, and let the opponent try things, or whether you want to go aggressive. So this is the general strategy. You decide your team lineup. You first look at the opponents, then you decide your team lineup, and then you start looking at the opponents individually, the individual matchups, and devise a general team strategy. Against many teams, India was actually the underdog. Like for instance, against teams like Russia, against China, we were the underdog, and it was generally a good result if we didn't lose on any of the 4 boards, and a 2-2 draw was a good result. So we had built a solid team, which was difficult to beat in the past years. But this time I felt that, with a stronger team, it was important to be as aggressive as we can, so as to maximize the chances over there. And accordingly, we devised a strategy where we generally had pressure on, at least 3 of the 4 boards if one of them was an even matchup. And I felt this maximized our chances in terms of probability. When you have like 3 potential games with pressure, the chances of conversion is accordingly higher. And accordingly, we won with a margin of 2 wins or 3 wins in almost every match. Rishi inspired everyone by simply being so brilliant. Examples like him show us that it's possible for an Indian to be, out there in the world, being a world beater, being a world champion, being the best. And we all grew up. Rishi instilled this self-belief in us. He inspired us to take up chess, and I'm sure he had a role in almost everyone from the team taking up chess by being that light who showed the path. And apart from his sheer individual brilliance, Rishi has also taken active steps to always be there for the upcoming talents. From my personal experiences, I can relate. When I was a promising young player, Rishi invited me to his house, once in Spain, once in Chennai, interacting with me, solving all my doubts and answering all my questions patiently. And I was barely like 12 years old when Rishi did such a gesture, which has stayed with me forever. And
Okay, let's take you now from our winners to what we hope will be a win. India's official entry to the Oscars 2025, Lapata Ladies. This critically acclaimed film, well loved by all of us. It's been making waves globally. And its talented star, Pratibha Ranta, remember she plays the fearless Jaya in the film, driven by her passion. She shares the details of her remarkable journey.
But that's not all. We also explore Pratibha's passion for empowering young girls to pursue their dreams in the entertainment industry. Watch this interview for more.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, like I really can't say how I'm feeling right now because it's a very beautiful feeling and I'm super happy. It's been a beautiful ride. I think I've learned so much during the entire process. I remember auditioning for Jaya's character and then taking away something back home and then coming on set and then exploring myself on a very different scale. I think it's been a learning process, and from then to now, I've been just celebrating Lapata Ladies. It's not stopping, and yeah, it's a beautiful ride. I think I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for the kind of love we all have been getting for the film. It's very overwhelming, and I can just say that thank you so much for, supporting us throughout the journey, because it really means a lot. I just feel so nice right now because, people have been appreciating your work. They recognized you. I think these small things, they really validates you and it makes you feel very nice. The most challenging part, I think I don't see it in a way that, okay, this will be challenging, but it was exciting for sure. When I got to know that, okay, Jaya, she has a very different dialect. The way she looks is so different. There are some different aspects of Jaya which will not match my personality. I was like, okay, now this is something very exciting because I'll get to explore my potential. I'll get to know how much I can do. I think that was a very exciting bit, and just to know like how Jaya thinks, because the character has been written in a very beautiful way, very nuanced, and to perform that, I think, it was because of Kiran's ma'am guidance that, I was able to bring that performance on screen. I think she'll make sure that, she'll be a friend. She'll make you feel very comfortable. She'll be like, you tell me what is going on, how is going on. And I think that's very important to establish the comfort. And once the comfort is established, then it becomes it becomes an organic process when you're performing. So I think that's wonderful thing about her.
Something that you vividly remember?
Most memorable part, I think just going out there and shooting in live locations, because Bhopal is such a beautiful place. We were shooting there, and it just adds so much to the films, adds so much to me when I'm performing, when you're actually shooting in a live location. So I think that's the most memorable part, and making friends for like lifetime maybe. Yeah, I think that's also a beautiful thing.
All right, and now, thank God, it's Friday. The weekend is finally here, and we've got the perfect plan to make it unforgettable for you.
And also, it's time to get over your Coldplay tickets now, unless you're planning to go to UAE, of course, with some comedy. This is featuring Zakir Khan, Akash Gupta. Sakshi's got the full guide.
Hi everyone, so we are back again with your yet another weekend planner here on TGIF on The Breakfast Club. Without any further ado, let's straight up begin with the movies that are releasing in theatres this weekend. Number one is much anticipated, much awaited Devarap Part 1. The film's backdrop is centered around the far and forgotten coastal lands of India. The people, or rather the villains, in the film neither fear death nor the gone, and there is no sense of humanity amongst them either. Devara changes this scenario in his inimitable style. Number two is Shukrana. Shukrana is a Punjabi movie directed by Simranjeet Singh. The movie features Neeru Bajwa, Amrit Maan and Jas Bajwa in the lead roles. Number three is Binny and Family. Binny and Family is coming of age story about a rebellious teenager living in London whose everyday life goes out for a toss with the arrival of a conservative grandfather from a very small town in Bihar. It's going to be hilarious. Do catch the movie in your nearby theatres. Now let's shift focus to the OTT releases. Number one is Vaza, biopic of A Billion Boys. It's coming up on Disney Plus Hotstar. This Malayalam coming-of-age comedy drama follows 5 carefree boys who navigate through the ups and downs in life, dealing with the pressure from parents and society before entering their adulthood period. Number two is Penelope, Netflix. Now Netflix's new teenage drama, Penelope, centers around a 16-year-old restless girl who sets out on a journey to build a new life and establish a place for herself in the world as well. Now, next up is Ellen DeGeneres, For Your Approval. It's coming up on Netflix as well. Watch renowned American comedian and actress Ellen DeGeneres headlining Netflix's new stand-up special. In it, she gets candid and talks about fame, parallel parking, and how her life exactly changed after she was kicked out of the showbiz. Next up is Inside Out 2. It's coming up on Disney Plus Hotstar as well. Inside Out 2 is an animated coming-of-age movie that delves into the life of a teenager named Riley. Riley experiences anxiety, a new emotion that affects the normal functioning of other emotions residing in her body. Gyeongsong Creature Season 2, again coming up on Netflix. After focusing on the events set back in 1945, the new season of Gyeongsong Creature moves to the present world. Still, it focuses on Jang Tae-sang and Yoon Jae-ok, whose fate entwines as they encounter a man named Ho Jae, bearing uncanny resemblance to Jang Tae-sang. What ensues next forms the main crux of the Korean drama. Do watch it. Last but not the least, let's shift focus to the events that you can attend outside with your family. Number one is famous comedian Zakir Khan performing live at multiple locations throughout the country, starting from 27th of September till October 6th. The show is a dive into all Zakir's shenanigans, where he shares stories about being very consistently career. Also, do catch comedian Akash Gupta performing his set live on 27th of September in Mumbai. He's going to tell you stories from his childhood home to his first MNC job after graduation. This show gets more personal, more awkward, and even more hilarious. Last but not the least, Zamna Music Festival. It's happening in Gurgaon on 29th of September. Internationally acclaimed Zamna is making his debut in India, and the excitement is off the charts. Originating from the vibrant hearts of Mexico, Zamna has now become a global sensation. Well, that's it. That's all we have for you in this list for this weekend. Do tune in next week with yet another platter. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on today's show. Also on the week, I need lots of sleep. I hope so do you. Take care of your heart. We'll see you again on Monday.
Have a great weekend.
At L'Oréal.
In power in 2019 में typically within a very short period, Jagan's uncle यानी चाची की husband, Chacha ji, this person has been deployed as chairman TTD.
Right.
The first thing he has done is removed the GO. Words they not have to give an undertaking. Now, who the hell he is? How can he just, as it is, he doesn't belong to our faith.
Right.
Yani ki Hindu. He still has been given a post. In fact, he is supposed to sign it and then enter into his position, which he did not do. What is the interest? See, basically, why do you make chairman of any under endowment and Hindu institution, such as Sanatan institution, that they work towards the development of the temple? What is the conspiracy? I'm questioning that he reversed the undertaking. That's the first point I want to question.
Right.
Now, second point. Mr. Jagan says, Chandrababu Naidu ji has got the report of the ghee that has been returned 18 trucks. Fair enough. Then where is the report of those 18 trucks ghee that has been sent back? They reached Tirumala and they've been sent back.
Right.
Is there a testing center in Tirumala? If there is a testing center in Tirumala, how quickly have you have come up to a decision that it is adulterated and you have sent back? Because now that it is a proof that they have been sent back, show us that test report. First point. After that, the trucks which have come with a new ghee, did you again test back? Because you're already burnt with the news that it is adulterated ghee. Then there is a new test report to tell that
okay,
you've got
fair
a good
enough,
ghee.
Madhvi ji. I wanted to ask you, with these revelations of the shocking use of inferior and substandard ingredients into making something that is so sacred and respected, and the alleged use of adulterated ghee in the preparation of that sacred laddu is not just a disrespect to Hindu sentiments, Madhvi ji. I think personally to me it's a disrespect to someone's faith, it's a breach of trust. But while the BJP is going all guns blazing and targeting the former chief minister, what about the role of the TTD? I mean, shouldn't they be held accountable as well? Why no questions are being asked from the board? Doesn't the buck stop at them? Aren't they responsible of ensuring that the most pure, authentic prasad is served to devotees?
Okay, I will ask you one simple thing. The chief minister is the head of the state. Unfortunately, we Hindus do not have a different autonomous board. We all fall under endowments. And under TTD, the chairman is a Christian. EO is a Christian. All prime members are Christian. To keep up the Hindu sentiment. And apart from that, if you know, please, you are supposed to now let everybody know about this. TTD, very prime people have done an investigation and figured out there were 44 non-Hindu believers who belong to another religion. What is the use if the power which has to take up this itself wants to curb it? That's the dirty politics, right?
Former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy is going to be visiting Tirupati, is going to be visiting the temple. The BJP and the TDP have now upped their ante against him. They say that before he enters the temple, before he takes those steps that go up to the hill temple, he should sign on the dotted line as far as the declaration of his faith is concerned. That is something that he hasn't done in the past because rules were bent for him when he was the Chief Minister, is the allegation that the ruling government there is making. Meanwhile, we're seeing several other leaders, including that of the BJP, making a beeline to this particular temple. Madhvi Lata was one such leader who's en route there. So there is high drama that is expected once Jagan Mohan Reddy reaches Tirupati tomorrow.
See, Jagan Mohan Reddy had committed an unforgivable sin. So there will be no relief for him. Lord Balaji, Swami Venkateshwara.
Good morning, viewers. Hello and welcome to the Morning News Show, where we bring you the latest headlines and insightful stories to kickstart your day. Well, we are beginning the Bulletin with a sweet turn bitter saga. The Laddu controversy that has escalated into an unprecedented political showdown, testing the faith and resolve of the community. Let's track the updates. Well, in a heated political backdrop ahead of YS Jagan Mohan Reddy's visit to the Tirumala temple, both the BJP and TDP are calling for a declaration of faith before the entry. Now, BJP MP Purandeshwari emphasized that this practice has been long-standing, while TDP insists that Jagan must sign a formal declaration or will be barred from the temple. Now, this controversy escalates among the ongoing Prasadam issue, with the BJP MLA T. Raja insisting that non-Hindus should be excluded from the temple rolls. Adding to the heat, BJP leader Madhavi Lata plans to visit the temple today to submit a Shama Prathana Patra, an apology letter, further highlighting the political stakes surrounding this visit.
पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री जगन मोहन रेड्डी 28 तारीख को तिरुपति मंदिर में पहुंचने वाले हैं, जहां पे उन्होंने एक क्षमा अनुष्ठान का आयोजन कर रहे हैं। मैं बता दूं कि इन्होंने जो अपराध किया, लड्डुओं के अंदर सुअर का चर्बी, फिश ऑयल मिला के जो अपराध किया, हिंदू भावनाओं को जो ठेस पहुंचाई, वो जो दंड है वो क्षमा योग्य नहीं है। वो कितना भी अनुष्ठान कर लें, वो क्षमा योग्य नहीं है।
तिरुपति मंदिर को अपवित्र करने का जिस प्रकार से षड्यंत्र किया गया, आज पूरा भारत ही नहीं पूरा विश्व का हिंदू ये देख रहा है कि कितना अपवित्र, कितना घोर पाप तिरुपति के मंदिर के लड्डू में जो YSRCP की जो सरकार थी वो समय पर किया गया। लेकिन चंद्रबाबू नायडू जी की गवर्नमेंट आने के बाद में ये चीज का उजागर किया। मैं नायडू जी को हृदय से धन्यवाद प्रकट करता हूँ। साथ ही साथ मैं नायडू जी से ये निवेदन करना चाहता हूँ कि जिन लोगों ने पाप किया है उनको मंदिर में दर्शन करने ना दे।
Well, this major update is also relevant to the Tirumala Laddu controversy. Now, 9-member SIT has been appointed to probe into the adulteration of ghee for Laddu and Anna Prasadam. Now, it will be headed by Sarvashreshth Tripathi, IGP Guntur Range. These are the latest inputs that we are tracking from the ground. It's a huge update, and probe is intensifying in the alleged adulteration of ghee that was used in making the famous Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam Temple's Laddu Prasadam. Now, joining us on the broadcast is our colleague Swastika. Very good morning, Swastika. Probe intensifying, and this is a major update in the entire controversy that has unfolded. Take us through all the details.
Well, one can certainly expect a lot of swift developments in the next 24 hours, and including today, when this evening, when Jagan Mohan Reddy is expected to land in Tirumala. And he will go for darshan tomorrow morning. But yes, from the investigation point of view, the first big step that is being taken by the state government is now the constitution of this special investigation team. That will be a 9-member team, and this team specifically will look into the whole issue of adulterated ghee being used to make laddus and Anna Prasadam back during Jagan Mohan Reddy's regime. What is also happening on the ground parallelly is a lot of leaders, in fact, in the likes of BJP leader from Telangana, Madhavi Lata, coming and doing her atonement ritual. Jagan Mohan Reddy himself is expected in the evening. Tomorrow he is going to go, but it's not going to be a smooth darshan for Jagan Mohan Reddy, who has in fact called for a statewide pujas to be held by YSRCP as a bid to do an atonement ritual, or what they say perpetrated lies being pushed by Chandrababu Naidu. But for Jagan issue, the hurdle that has also come up in this way is the fact that the police have imposed Section 30, prohibiting any kind of meetings.
Swastika, I'll request you to stay with us on the broadcast as we're getting another breaking input relevant to this entire controversy that has unfolded. Now, amid the ongoing row over adulteration of Tirupati Laddu, police have now enforced Section 30 of the Police Act in Tirupati district for a month. Now, for a better understanding of the viewers, under Section 30 of the Police Act 1861, the order will regulate public meetings and rallies that were enforced a day ahead of the arrival of former Chief Minister YS Jagan Mohan Reddy in Tirumala to offer prayers. Swastika, take us through all the details, and why is it the need of the hour to impose this order?
Because YSRCP, remember, has called for all of its leaders to do statewide pujas at all the temples. Why are they doing pujas? They say that Chandrababu Naidu has committed a heinous crime by lying in the name of Lord Venkateshwara Swami, and that's why to atone for his sins, they are in fact doing this puja. But why the police has in fact cracked down in a strict manner is because they don't want Section 30 specifically imposed in those areas where there could be law and order situation, and that's why in Tirupati, where we are reporting from, the entire security has been ramped up. So is the case in all those areas where there could be volatile situations. Even with regards to Jagan Mohan Reddy, he is expected to arrive here in Tirupati at 7 o'clock, and then he will proceed towards Tirumala. Tomorrow is when he is scheduled to have his darshan. But the condition that has been put forth is that he has to sign that disclosure form which says, in which he has to say he's a practicing Christian, so he has to in fact write that, and also say that he has full faith in Lord Balaji, because this one form has become a big political issue. The TDP says Jagan has complete disregard for the norms that have been in existence at the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, and that's why they have demanded that he first sign and then he can go for darshan.
Right, Swastika, I'll request you to stay with us on the broadcast as we're getting another breaking input that is also pertinent to this entire controversy unfolding. Now this time, Andhra Pradesh Police is acting on the directions of Chandrababu Naidu and Nara Lokesh and have begun issuing notices to YSRCP leaders ahead of YS Jagan Mohan Reddy's Tirupati tour, warning them not to participate in the event. Now many leaders in the region are receiving these notices very well in advance of ahead of YSRCP leaders' visit to the temple, and several are being placed under house arrest by the police. Now Swastika continues to stay with us on the broadcast. Swastika, help us understand house arrest for the rest of the leaders to not join this tour of former Chief Minister.
Well, what you're reading out is the allegation leveled by Jagan Mohan Reddy's party, the YSRCP. The police, as we were continuing, have imposed section for Police 30 Act. What is this act? Any kind of gatherings, meetings, processions cannot be held in those areas which are law and order sensitive. And considering that the YSRCP has called for statewide protests in the form of pujas, Jagan himself is in Tirupati, the police has in fact been instructed by the state government to ensure that there is no chaos or pandemonium, considering that this is Tirumala, where there are thousands of pilgrims, nearly 70,000 pilgrims every single day arrive at this temple to get darshan. And that's the reason why the justification coming from the COP side is that we will allow those only who take permission. Anything without permission won't be allowed.
Right, Swastika, keeping aside the political showdown and the legal law and order situation on the ground, let's talk about what impact could this controversy have on devotees' trust in the Tirumala temple offerings, because that is the major sentiment on the ground that is being heard.
Well, there's a sense of disbelief at large, there's a sense of betrayal, because for devotees who have been reading these various media reports, they are confounded by the whole revelation. In fact, many have in fact started questioning the manner in which temples have been functioning, and that's the reason why there have been calls from many prominent voices